Hey everyone, it's Froggy, and I'm back again with some more Will a Wonderful World. Today, we're gonna try and save Daddy. Okay. I heard the slip. He had slipped. Okay. The ground was very slippery and covered with water. Let's try that. Lieutenant Kang rolled his eyes at me and stood back up by himself. He then got dressed and left the locker room. I froze and stood there like a statue. If only I had reached out to grab him sooner. No. I should have gone and picked up that soap. Oh boy. Was my career over? The beast slipped in the water and turned to its side suddenly, like it was drunk. Daddy jumped ahead just in time and the beast missed him. Lucky. But the beast had run into the rails not too far ahead and finally stopped on the grass. Soon a human walked out of the beast. He seemed to be okay and just started yelling while checking his beast's round feet. I looked at the beast. Its body had some words on it, but I couldn't read. But I had seen the sign next to it. I used to go hunting birdies with Daddy in a place far, far away. It was deep inside the mountains. But on top of the hill, there was a building that smells like drugs. Daddy told me that it was a hospital, and it had been the same sign as the one on the beast. I remembered thinking the hospital looked a little strange. The humans inside didn't look hurt at all to me, but none of them would smile. Some of them would burst into laughter or tears all of a sudden. They all looked a little strange, not like humans we met in the city. Wait, so is Park inside the ambulance? Humans were strange. Rank B, okay, but we've got S, so that's not gonna get changed. Let's... Okay. I grabbed Lieutenant Kang and tried to pull him up, but I slipped and fell too. Oh, sexy. We had to go back to the hot tub and take another bath to clean ourselves. The water was still very warm, but I was already used to the temperature after the first time. Lieutenant Kang wrapped his towel around his neck again. He didn't close his eyes this time, though. He just seemed to be staring blankly ahead. It was only the two of us in the spa room. It was so quiet, again. Nothing else was in the air except for the steam from the water and the awkwardness. Maybe it was my imagination, but Lieutenant Kang almost looked like a normal, accessible person for a while. I was almost going to ask him something, but eventually I decided to let it go. It was already after work. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. Alright, we saved Daddy, and they fell on top of each other. So, sexy times ahead. And another bing bing!
Carlos, te extraño.
Little Lamb Billy. Okay, this is Alicia. And
부처님, 나도 좀 도와줘요.
And you again. So we still don't know what she looks like. I want to look at Spotty. Oh, look. He looks like the, where is it? Him! It's that cat, isn't it? Yeah. A noble stray cat from Korea.
Meow.
Oh, he's so cute. Alright, start with you. The cargo shorts and beach shirt and little Lamb Billy. I had been assigned here for a week. For the past few days, I had been trying to find an opportunity to write my transfer application and submit it to Lieutenant Kang. Yet every time when I sat down and tried to fill out the form, Lieutenant Kang would throw a bunch of paperwork at me and make me file them. It was almost like he knew what I was up to. None of this made any sense at all. As a police officer, shouldn't I be patrolling the city to stop crimes and helping people with everything I had? Even be ready to sacrifice myself for justice at a moment's notice? But this was so boring. Thank God I could still sometimes chat with Officer Ming Jun, a more senior officer in Unit 4, or I would have exploded out of boredom by now. Usually at this point, Min Jun would say, "I'll lend you a grenade then." Min Jun liked making these kinds of morbid firearm jokes, although I rarely found them funny. Life sucked. I poured myself another glass and chugged it. I was at a bar called Crash, where I would always come whenever I was feeling down. Every day after midnight, the bar would turn into a carnival. But around sunset, the atmosphere here was actually really nice, and it was the best time to come here and drink alone. I was sitting by the window and staring at the street blankly. Some words from the conversation at the next table suddenly caught my attention. A bald man in a Hawaiian shirt raised his bottle and said, "Bro, have you heard about what happened to Groot Gangman a few days ago?" His buddy, who was wearing a pair of beach shorts and sporting the most ridiculous hairstyle, laughed. "Of course. It's been heard all over the group, Yusung. That was really brutal for them to blow off half the head of Choi Yohan's son. Only Kang Bak-ya has the balls to do that." My ears perked up when I heard Lieutenant Kang's name out of the blue like that. The bald man continued. "I think it was pretty rad. That bastard was always so fucking annoying. He would come to our turf all the time looking for trouble, just because of his good old daddy." The crazy-haired guy interrupted him. "Shut the fuck up, you idiot. Don't let anyone hear you say that. You're gonna get Boss Chu in trouble." The bald man immediately concurred. "Oh, sure. By the way, I've also heard that Choi Yohan is setting up a track for Kang Bak-ya. It is going to be epic." The crazy-haired guy sounded surprised. "Hey, watch it! Don't get so close to me." "Wait, what did you mean by setting up a trap?" The bald man explained. "I heard that they had something on Kang Bak-ya and they'll use it to force him to turn himself over. You can guess what they're going to do to him next. I think it is supposed to be going down tonight, over at the warehouses by the port." The crazy-haired guy didn't seem like he was buying it. "Really? You think that would work?" Kang was tough enough to take out a whole team on his own. The bald man got excited. "We'll find out. Apparently, they've prepared barrels and concrete, and I've heard something about some other big surprise. Anyway, no matter which side loses, Boss Ju will be happy either way. I bet he's been looking forward to this day for a long time." I sobered up completely. I quickly checked my cell phone. It was 9 p.m. Now that I thought about it, Lieutenant Kang had gotten a delivery earlier today, and he had left the office soon afterwards. Did the delivery have anything to do with the trap? I knew I didn't quite get along with Lieutenant Kang, but no matter what, he was on the side of justice. Now that I knew he was in danger, there was no way that I could just sit aside and let it happen. I sneaked into the bathroom and immediately called the lieutenant. Nobody picked up. I then called the police station. Someone told me that nobody from Unit 4 was available. I had a really bad feeling. If I didn't get in touch with the lieutenant as soon as possible. The door opened and a person walked out. My reaction had been slowed down because of the alcohol. The young man who had just come out of the stall grabbed me by the hair and slammed me into the mirror above the sinks. The mirror was smashed, and there was broken glass all over the ground. Just before I passed out, I heard someone say, "You dirty cop, are you trying to snitch on our own turf? Screw you!" When I woke up, I found myself lying in a big, empty warehouse. The gate was locked from the outside. I could see the evening stars through the windows high above the wall. Oh man, how long have I been out for? Was Lieutenant Kang already at the port? Chang Jungmin. Hong Kong was a strange city. It was quite small, but it felt like such a big city. While it was busy and rich, there were also many poor people, including numerous homeless people wandering the streets. I had hoped to go to America, but I ended up being kidnapped and brought to Hong Kong. I didn't have any money on me. I didn't know if I could even survive here, not to mention go to America. I began to look at the hiring flyers on the walls. Teamsters, engineers, masseurs. A lot of places were hiring, but I don't know how to do any of the jobs. But one day, I saw that there was a nightclub looking for a pub singer. The club was called Melody Hall. It sat in the middle of the most popular location on Portland Street in Mong Kok. The club was huge, and the guests were all dressed like royalty. Everyone that came to audition for the job was sitting in the lobby waiting for their turn. Several middle-aged men were sitting below the stage looking terribly bored. I chose to sing one of my favorite songs when it was my turn. It was a folk song from my hometown. It's called Little Lamb Billy. She's very pretty. After my parents had passed away, my brother and I were soon sent to the orphanage. For a long time afterwards, Carlos seemed to have shut down entirely. He could sit there for an entire day without saying a single word. He was only 3. There was nothing near the orphanage but hills and mountains. I liked to take him hiking and would talk to him on top of the mountain or sing to him. He would stay there for the whole day sometimes. However, he still wasn't talking. One day when I was singing, I suddenly thought to myself, was this going to last forever? Would Carlos never ever talk to me again? I had to stop the song. I couldn't stop myself from thinking depressing thoughts. I cried. "Why are you crying, Alicia?" Carlos was pulling on my arm, and I saw him looking at me with his clear eyes. That day, he had finally returned to me. The song I had been singing that day was Little Lamb Billy. I stood in front of the elevator. I was thinking about the song that I had just sang, and the days when we had lived in the orphanage. I couldn't help but hum the song again. I felt a sudden tap on my shoulder. It was one of the men who had been sitting below the stage earlier. "Miss, there is something that you should know." His eyes were almost shut as he smiled at me. "It is quite a hassle to hire a foreigner like you who has no papers. You won't be able to find another job in all of Hong Kong. However, I think you are really terrific. I would love to hire you as long as you..." As he was speaking, his hand was moving down from my shoulder along my back, and it kept moving down even further. I was taken aback and tried to move away, but he grabbed my wrist. I had never been in a situation like this in my entire life. I was horrified. I tried to shake him off with all my strength. I scratched his face with my nails, leaving a red mark. He felt his face with his hand as I was running away. "You ungrateful little bitch! You people! Go grab her!" I ran into a small alley and hid behind a dumpster. After what seemed to be an eternity, I could no longer hear the people who were running after me. I fell to the ground. I felt violated and ashamed. Tears were rushing out of my eyes, as if all of my suffering had come back to haunt me. "Carlos, I miss you so much." "Alicia." Okay, well, we don't want her to get molested, so let's try and fix this. Okay, well, there's only... Okay. Let's try that. I turned around. It was Officer Min-jun. "Thank God you're here, sir." Min-jun seemed shocked after I told him about what I had just heard outside. He said the lieutenant might still be at his own place. It wasn't too far from here. We should hurry over to see if we could catch him in time. Hello? With Min Jun leading the way, we were running as fast as we could towards Lieutenant Kang's home. Then we came across a small dark alley without any lights. Min Jun seemed to be out of breath, but he slowed down. He pointed at the 2-story apartment building not too far in front of us and told me that it was the lieutenant's building. I decided to keep going ahead. But before I could run any more than a few steps, I suddenly felt a sharp pain on the back of my head. I felt dizzy and lost my balance. I couldn't even see the road anymore. Okay, so we got a spy. I fell to the ground and blacked out. When I woke up, it was almost daylight. Officer Min Jun was lying next to me. Neither of us seemed to have had our wallets. Oh man, how could this happen? Was Lieutenant Kang already? Someone unusually tall had just walked out of the elevator wearing an even more unusual ensemble. A pair of red high heels, a pair of tight black leather pants, a lavish fur coat. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. I walked past this person into the elevator and pressed the button for the first floor. The person kept walking into the lobby. Alright, let's retry. Clearly this isn't right. It was one of the men who had been sitting below the stage earlier. Miss, there is something that you should know. His eyes were almost shut as he smiled at me. It's quite a hassle to hire a foreigner like you with no papers. You won't be able to find another job in all of Hong Kong. However, I think you are really terrific. I would love to hire you as long as you... He was speaking, his hand was moving down. I looked at the lobby, but I could no longer see the person who had just come out of the elevator. No one could help me now. I was taken aback and tried to move away, but he grabbed my wrist. Okay. So, I think I'm right, but I need to swap the places. I checked the time again. It was already 9:30 p.m. It wasn't safe to go straight to the port, as I didn't know how many people the enemy had. I hadn't received my weapon yet, as this was only my first week. It wouldn't be terribly useful for me personally, but it would still be better than nothing. I should at least go back to the station and check out a gun. Perhaps I could even find some backup. I hoped I could make it in time. I left the bar. A cold breeze blew over my face. I shuddered and felt myself sobering up a little more. I hailed a cab. I kept urging the driver to speed up. In the end, it took me 30 minutes to arrive rather than the usual 60. Okay. As soon as I opened the door, I threw up all over the ground. Lovely. The old driver looked at me emotionlessly and handed me the bill and a napkin. I just ran through 3 red lights for you. I'll give you a discount for being a police officer. Okay, so we got rank S and we need to swap these. Okay, something you should know. Blah, blah, blah. So to go back, try to run away, grab my wrist, never had been in such a... Tried to take him off with all my strength. I scratched his face with my nails, leaving a red mark. He let go of me and felt his face with his hand. You ungrateful little bitch! Hey, that was, embarrassing. Someone who had just got out of the elevator stood in front of me. A pair of red high heels. A pair of tight black leather pants. A lavish fur coat. If it weren't for the voice, no one would have guessed that it was a man wearing them if they saw them from behind. For the manager of Melody Hall to dare do something like this in public, what would your big boss say if he heard about this? Fine. Just not my lucky day then. The manager shot me a stern look, turned around and walked back to the lobby. The cross-dressing man turned to me smiling widely. Hello, pretty little girl. Would you like to get a drink at my place? Alright, cool. Well, she got saved, so that's good. And I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, then don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.